How's it going? Welcome back to the commercial. Today we're talking about the fact that today's generation is overall in a state of lostness and confusion due to the epidemic that's been going on for decades, for millennial, of alcohol, drugs, the abuse of money and power, and the corruption of money, and 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 music. All of these things play a huge factor in today's destructive um, generation of people. Okay, look, I'm not here to be some type of, you know, spokesperson for positivity or anything, but I just need people to be aware that the reason for the lack of innovation in young teenagers is because of these things. You know, the abuse of alcohol, the abuse of drugs, the abuse of, you know, music that doesn't feed the ego or that doesn't feed the soul. You know, people are listening to music that feeds the ego more than ever. People don't want to hear, you know, the jazz music, the Spanish guitar, those type of, you know, vibes no more. People are literally so not brainwashed, but unwilling to change their perspectives on the things that they're partaking in and the effects that these things are having on them. And I don't blame nobody, okay? Look, I'm one of those people who find it hard to kind of steer away from certain behaviors, but once I really took it in, once I really saw it from a brighter perspective, a broader perspective, I was able to kind of move away from the things that no longer serve me in my highest good, okay? And I think that the cause for the lostness and the confusion within the community of within this generation of young adults and just young people in general is the constant abuse of these things like alcohol, music. These things are no good for the soul. Okay, for being honest, this is not a it's not a question. This is a fact. It's not good for the soul. It causes damage to one's body, mind, and soul and spirit. You know, all of these things are affected when you're abusing things like alcohol, when you're abusing things like rap music. And I'm not here to, you know, bash rap music at all. Actually, I think it's very impactful in a good way. It's a very way to express yourself. You know, if you're an artist, you're making, you know, these songs talking about your experiences. That's a beautiful thing. You know, to be able to take that route instead of, you know, going to the streets and, you know, staying there. You know, you have an outlet that allows you to do that. But what I have a problem with, look, this is what I have a problem with, is these rich and famous people talking about the streets and promoting that consistently. And they don't even live like that at all. You know, they don't need to anymore. You know, people, those people make that type of music and then feed that to the streets, and then in turn the streets continue to live a life of violence, and you know, it's just like these things matter. You know what I mean? Like, whether you want to believe it or not, like music has a big impression on the body and the mind. So if you're someone who's listening to these things on a daily basis, it's gonna impact you and affect how you move. Okay, you're gonna want to spin the block. You're gonna want to do that, Joe. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's encouraging you to stay there and stay stuck while the person who's making the song is at the top. You know what I'm saying? And eating off of your arrogance and your ignorance. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, look, I'm not here to be some type of, you know, hero or anything. Nobody's perfect. I only stopped drinking alcohol not too long ago, and it's been really easy to stop, honestly. You know, once I've gathered the facts, once I actually devoted myself to understanding what it was that was causing me to stay stuck, what it was that was causing me to stay at a very low mental point. I kind of knew what it was, or I knew that what the cause of that was, and I completely just cut it out of my life. I don't want to feel bad in the morning. I don't want to drink no more because I have goals and dreams, and I realized like alcohol was really stopping me from achieving these things. It was really stopping me from doing what I knew I was supposed to do. I had no energy drinking alcohol. It didn't even matter if I only drank a small amount. Like I still had like no energy to, you know, work out or cook food. Like these are things that matter because these habits play a very big role when you get older. And this generation that we live in, nobody wants to cook. I know that seems pretty silly to say, but it's true. Nobody's really cooking like that no more. You know, only a few people. It's a very small percentage of this generation's population that cooks. I don't know if that's a fact, but I have a feeling that's the truth. Everybody is either ordering Uber Eats or ordering DoorDash or something else. Like nobody is cooking. You know, the grocery store, the shelves are full. The produce section is full. Nobody wants to cook no more. When I go there, I don't see young people like that, like looking for ingredients to cook. And this is a small detail within this generation, but I still think it's important to realize that like what has been done to us. We literally don't have to leave our place to get food to our door. And I spent so much money. Oh my goodness, I spent too much money on Uber Eats. Like literally, it's bad. Like I think about it, and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I did that because of how convenient it was and how convenient it is to actually just order it from them. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do the dishes. Say no more. I'm about to just order Uber Eats all day, all night, and waste thousands of dollars on this stuff because it's easy. But back in the day, men hunted for their foods. Men hunted for their foods, and I think we're out of touch, as a generation. You know what I'm saying? Everything is so easy. We lack discipline. We lack hunger. And I don't blame nobody. I think that's just the world we live in nowadays. But, change starts from within. Change starts from an individual. And that individual then chooses to help other people, reaching out and actually giving positive advice and doing these things like that. So yeah, if you want to make an impact, it starts with you first. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect people to immediately change off of this one video, but anything is possible. Even if I reached one person off of this, then I've done my job. I've done what I was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? And I feel good talking about stuff like this because I know it's making a difference in some way, shape, or form. Okay? But yeah, again, look, nobody has that ambition to become something. And these are like there's a reason behind this. It's so obvious. It's the substance abuse. It's the alcohol. It's the weed. Like doing these things at an early age really throws you off course. Believe it or not. Like these things, in my eyes, from my perspective now, with more clarity. Ever since I stopped drinking, I have more clarity, and I'm actually able to peep what's going on. So in my eyes, alcohol and weed and stuff like that, like these are things that should be enjoyed once you've accomplished your goals and you've done all the hard work and you're satisfied with what you have been able to accomplish through your efforts. Alcohol is something that takes away your energy. How does it feel when you're hungover? Does it feel good? Be honest. Does it feel good when you're hungover? No, right? You're gonna order Uber Eats again in the morning when you feel bad. You know what I mean? So just take that into consideration, okay? Um, you don't want to stay there. Okay? It's not worth it, especially at such a young age. Nobody wants to stay there. It breeds so much negativity. Like literally, like negative energy is all over alcohol, all over these drugs and substances. And I'm not telling nobody to stop doing it. Okay, moderation is always better than abuse. You know, abusing these drugs um, and alcohol. It's way better than just taking a bunch. But in my eyes, if you're a young teenager or if you're in your early 20s, completely cut it out of your life. You don't need it to have a good time. You never needed it as a kid. You were happier as a child. So get back to that inner child and just start creating. Be a creative like you were meant to be. And it's easier to be a creative when you're not drinking. Believe it or not, you know, a lot of people think it's the opposite. A lot of people think that when you drink, you become more creative, but that's just not true. Once you heal those different parts of your being through real effort and real work, without the need for, you know, these substances, you blossom into the best version of yourself, like point blank period. That's just the truth. All right. Now, again, I understand, you know, I understand why we do these things. I understand why people drink. I understand why people smoke weed, and I understand why people want to listen to the mainstream music and, you know, these things. I get it. Our whole lives, we did it. You know, we drank. A lot of people started drinking at an early age, very early age, but it's literally up to you to choose, you know, especially if this video found you. It's probably a wake up call, you know. So yeah, I'm just here to let you know, like, life does get so much better when you cut these things out of your life. Okay? The clarity, the enjoyment. You know, look, another thing I realized when I stopped drinking is I literally enjoy the little things in life. Like, life does become more magical. The negative thoughts go away eventually, you know. Everything takes time, but just don't fall back into that. You don't need to drink ever again. Like, that was cool, you know, but once you have those thoughts, like, damn, I really should stop drinking, like, really listen to those thoughts and really listen to yourself. It is time to stop drinking. You don't need to drink no more. It's okay to not have another drink ever again. Like, you literally don't need to have that in your body. You know, you could literally operate at your absolute fullest potential through your sobriety. You know, you don't need to be influenced by these substances that you don't have any idea what these things are doing to your body either. You know, it's weed, drinking, smoking, like vaping. Like, trust me, like, we don't want to be that generation that didn't listen. And we're low-key already that generation who didn't listen. So if you're in this generation, you know, early 20s, a teenager, really try your best to change your outlook on life and just really cut these things out, because we need you. This life is beautiful, man. I'm telling you, it's better sober. I'm telling you this right now. It's better sober, okay? I know there are things in life that stress you out so much, but trust me when I tell you, you do not need to drink and poison yourself more. You're literally, what you're doing is, if you're stressed and you're drinking alcohol, you're feeding negativity with more negativity. You might feel good for a little bit, but long term, you're going to have a baseline of negative emotions. Stop drinking and that goes away. You feel better. You do better. You do more. You know, at your work, you start to actually enjoy being there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are complaining. A lot of people complaining that their job is this and that. But like, a lot of the times, it's about the mindset you come to work with. Okay, look, especially if you're young, a lot of young people hate their jobs, and I'm one of those people who hated their jobs. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not working at the moment, but when I was working, I complained a lot. I did drink as well. And I'm starting to realize, like, imagine if I cut out the alcohol and really focused on being happy instead of numbing the pain and focusing on being my best self for other people around me and the customers I was serving. Like, imagine how much just happier I would have been. That thought alone is just like, wow, like, interesting. Like, instead of numbing the pain, I could actually heal and just be a good person and be of service to other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's beautiful. Like, who doesn't want to be of service to other people? You know, everybody, I'm sure, deep down wants to be helpful and useful and, you know, being able to cheer others up. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, man, like, alcohol really, really does destroy. You know, it does more harm than good. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I'm not telling nobody to stop doing that. That's a choice you must talk about amongst yourselves. But in my eyes, if you're a young teenager, again, early 20s, don't drink. Accomplish your goals. Do these things, and then consider, you know, whether or not you want to start drinking again or abusing or whatever, abusing weed or whatever you do. But I just think if you want to operate at your highest potential, you should be focusing on your goals, whether that be working out, getting the physique you want, or, you know, focusing on getting money. Another thing too, alcohol does, it makes you so flipping lazy. Like, I noticed how much I called out of work because I was tired or I didn't feel like going. Whole time though, the alcohol was making me feel like this. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, alcohol will do that to you. You drink. Now all of a sudden, your baseline mood or emotions are negative. You don't feel good no more. Why is that? Because of the alcohol. Now you're calling into work. You're missing out on money. You know, yes, work can be stressful sometimes, but outside of work, you should be taking care of yourself. You know, no matter how tired you are, like, as long as you're getting a good amount of sleep, you should be taking care of yourself. Alcohol only makes things worse. Okay, and weed is something that, you know, slows you down. I would say. Um, a lot of people are able to think clearer on weed, but abusing it probably brings more bad than good as well, for being honest here. Okay, especially if you're young. Okay, nobody should be drinking under the age of 25. Nobody should be smoking under the age of 25. I'm pretty sure that's when your brain fully, like, develops or something like that, at the 25 or whatever. um Nobody should be doing these things. um and my final point, my final couple points is another thing too. Like, you obviously shouldn't be listening to, you know, negative music all day long, man. Like, there is so much more out there. You know, mainstream music is all that some people know, and it really shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't want to broaden their horizons when it comes to music as well. Like, there's so much good music out there that doesn't revolve around sex, money, drugs, power, jealousy. Like, these are all things that we're listening to constantly, and then we wonder why we feel the things that we feel, the negative emotions that we feel. You could love life so much. You could love it so much more if you just cut certain things out. If you kept certain things at a minimal, life, I promise you, will 100% be much more enjoyable. No cap. Like, literally. Like, cut out weed, cut out drinking if you're younger than 25, and I promise you, you will reach your fullest potential. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right? That's a promise. Just stay focused and do your best. just cut these things out, and it will be much more easier. You know, like in my eyes, alcohol, weed, negative music, these are things that are literally stopping you from thinking clearly enough to know where you're going. And when you don't know where you're going, you end up in places you don't want to be in. And that was me. That was me for so long, for months. Even no, not even months, but a couple months before this video I'm making here, that was me. But now I'm starting to get my clarity back, and I'm starting to do things that I never thought to do. I'm starting to do things happier, and I'm starting to do things that I just wasn't doing before. And I'm blaming it. I don't want to blame anything, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure that the alcohol had a very, very negative effect. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure of it. I'm reading into so much studies on alcohol and why it's so bad for the body and mind and soul. Like, I'm reading so much, and I'm really enjoying myself because I'm learning a lot from it. And I'm just going to continue to bring this information to you guys. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe and like. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I think I've said everything I needed to say for today. Many more conversations like this to come. So again, if you like the video, subscribe and like. And thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.